Hey fam, welcome back. Yes, you read the title right. Satan's altar to child sacrifice. And what I mean by child sacrifice is gender transition through medical means. The knowing and willful harm and butchering of children through medical transition. It has been proven time and time and time again that this causes harm to children. Puberty blockers almost 50 years ago was meant to treat certain forms of cancer. And in a short, very extremely short term use for prepubescent puberty only, not long term. It was also developed as a medication to destroy the hormones, reproductive system, and sexual desires of convicted sexual predators. And they want to give this stuff to children when they know the harm it will do when it comes to gender medicine for children. And people seem to be okay with this. It's just unfathomable how demonic these people have become. There are better ways to help a child who has gender confusion. And yes, children are confused can get confused when it comes to their gender. I was one of them. I know many others that were also. Okay, names don't matter. Just look, watch, listen, you'll find them. It's not hard. These puberty blockers destroy lives of children. Okay, it is a stop. It has been proven it has been a stop to puberty, not a pause. Because once you stop, once you put a delay on puberty, it's a stop. As soon as when the body of a child reaches 10 or 2, puberty is started. That's when these puberty blockers are normally given to children just to stop and put a quote unquote pause puberty, which is a lie. It's not a pause, it's a stop. When that puberty stage is over, it does not come back, it does not restart. Same thing with 3, 4, and the end stage of Tanner, which is Tanner 5, the final stage. It stops them. Okay, it has been proven to cause bone problems, brittle bones, osteoporosis. Okay, it destroys the reproductive system. Okay, it's not a pause on that stuff. In case children decided that, well, it's not something for them. Well, guess what? They are not going to be able to reproduce at all anymore. Their chances of that are gone. And their chances of any kind of intimacy with a partner have been eliminated. This has been proven time and time again by adult detransitioners sharing their stories. That they have no gratification from intimacy with a partner because of these puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones when they start as a child. These are facts. Why do you think Tavistock has been shut down? Because they knew this. People found out they knew this. This is a crime against our children. Our children deserve better than that. They deserve to be protected. Our children did not ask to be here. They deserve our protection from those who are putting them on Satan's altar to butcher them for life. Okay, get surgically altered and butchered. When somebody decides to detransition after surgery to become back, those body parts do not come back. They do not come back. It's a fact. Males cannot become females. Females cannot become males. The only thing a transsexual / deranged transgender meaning, all that can be done is the body can be made to present as the opposite sex. That's all. That's it. That's the only thing that can be done. Okay, we can present physically and emotionally as the other sex, gender. And it's binary. It's only two sexes, two genders. There's not multiples, no, two, no more, no less. Non-binary, I have a lot of non-binary friends. Non-binary is not a gender. People are not asexual. People cannot self-reproduce in a single-sex environment. It is impossible. That's what asexual means. Is self-reproducing in a single-sex environment, and humans are a species that cannot do that. That's a fact. Okay, do non-binary people feel like they don't want to be female nor male? Yeah, I believe that. I believe people feel that way, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. It really is. Okay, we have to deal with our lives the best way we feel that fits our life at the moment. Maybe it's long term, maybe it's not long term. Maybe it's permanent, maybe it's not permanent way for them to deal with their life, and that's okay. Whatever helps their mental and emotional stability is the way to go. And if that's how they have what helps them to feel better and being able to deal with their lives, I'm all for it. That's great. It's just not a gender. Like I said, there's only two genders, two sexes, male and female. We can alter our bodies in the way that we act to present as the opposite. And that's legitimate for people of us who have gender identity disorder, and I believe it is a disorder. I know it's a mental disorder and incongruence with the mind and body. Okay, we have ways to be able to deal with that. Okay, and the proper way to deal with those things, no matter where we're on in this journey of our individual lives, whether it be trans female, trans male, non-binary, or what have you, is to start with mental health therapy, proper mental health therapy. And I'm not talking about, okay, yep, you're this therapy, the affirmation therapy. That is the biggest crime that I've ever seen in my life. One of the biggest crimes I've ever seen in my life. How the hell do you know that what that person is telling you is the truth? They're coming to you for a reason. To help explore and find out if what they're feeling and thinking and what they believe is right and right for them, for the person. Okay, I am so glad my first therapist was not a gender therapist. because my therapist lovingly and caringly enough asked and presented me information and questions that helped me even become more solid in my transition journey to appear and present as the opposite sex. Even though I am not the opposite sex, I am still a male. Okay, that will not change. I have a lot of women friends that have known me before, long before I transitioned. And after and during my transition, they trust me. Because they know in my heart of hearts I'm honest, I'm caring, I'm compassionate, and I don't want to harm anyone. And that leads me into the next thing I want to talk about when it comes to this BS, transgender BS. You don't have to do a thing to be transgender or transsexual. You don't have to have gender identity disorder, gender dysphoria. I'm sorry, that's a lie. If you don't have gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder, you are not trans. That's a fact. And if you don't do anything to put effort into passing as the opposite sex, stay the hell out of the opposite sex restrooms. You do not belong there. And you don't belong there even if we do. Because we need to be invited there. It's not our space. I've been invited to those spaces because people feel comfortable and feel comfortable with me there. I don't want to cause harm. I want to do what I need to do and then go about my business and live my life. All right, my phone was going off. Whoever it was can leave a message. Those who are trans women or claim to be trans women and don't shave, screw you. You're not trans. You're a cross-dressing, belligerent rectal tard. You're too stupid to have a brain. And then you want to go into women's spaces? No, stay out. You have no business there. Your only intent is to harm women, and I won't tolerate it. I'm pushing back against it. You belong in jail. And then we're going to talk about the same thing with trans men. If you don't want to put the effort into looking like a man, you don't need to have facial hair to show that you're putting an effort to look like a male. Okay, it will come with hormone therapy. You don't belong in those restrooms. Even though most men are decent men, there are sick men out there that will take advantage of you. Just because they're going to see, they're going to look at it like, oh, you're coming in here, you're in here for my pleasure. And that's not the truth. Putting yourself in harm's way. On that same note, opposite side of that same coin, trans women who do not put any effort to look like women are going into the women's room to cause them harm. No, you're not doing that. You stop. You need to be in jail. Because that's your intent, to do harm. There's a reason why those of us who are transsexual and going down this road are putting in the effort is because we want to appear And we're really trying to fit in. We do not want to cause harm. We want women to feel comfortable. Women deserve that. Trans women, trans girls, and girls in women's sports. No, you don't belong there. You really don't. You don't belong in women's sports. Any women's sports. I don't care if it's just tiddlywinks. You don't belong in women's sports, especially any kind of combat sports. The only thing you want to do in combat sports is beat women, and that's a crime. That's all you want to do is commit a crime because you hate women. You're a pathetic coward. That's all you are. What needs to happen for people to see that this stuff is not right? Especially trans women and girls in women's and girls sports. Are women and girls going to have to start getting killed? I hope that does not happen. And if it does, whoever did it should be convicted of premeditated first-degree murder. Because that's exactly what it is. Premeditated first-degree murder. Because you're going into these combat sports with the intent to harm and kill. Because you hate women. And I'm going to say it, you're a piece of shit. And anybody who agrees with trans women and girls going into women's and girls sports, you're a piece of shit too. They don't belong there. Make a third category, trans sports. You know why men don't care whether trans men go into men's sports or not? It's because trans men aren't a threat to men. They're not physically a threat to men. They're just not. Trans men know that. So men. Trans men aren't even a threat to me. Because even though I've been on hormone replacement therapy for X amount of years, for a good number of years, I'm still physically stronger and bigger. They're not a threat to me. But if I'm not careful on how I act and what I do in the presence of women, I can be perceived as a threat to women, and I don't want it. That's something I do not want to do. I will not do to the best of my ability. Because women deserve better. Girls deserve better. And this unholy satanic butchering of children needs to stop. Anybody who agrees with it or actually does it as a medical provider, whether it be mental health or physical medical health, is a demon. You're demonic and you worship Satan. You need to stop. If you care about children, you need to follow your precept of do no harm to the best of your ability. And that is not by dramatically transitioning children, is not doing it. It's causing harm. looked up a few places as to how what you can look into for people with more knowledge of what this medical harm does to children, being more than what I know about it because they studied it. Okay, and you can still look for it on YouTube. Okay, Sweden, and this is I'm going to name the titles of the thing of the place, the things of the feeds that you can find on there. Sweden puts brakes on treatment for minors. That's one title. Gender affirming care turns kids into lifelong patients. Dr. Miriam Grossman. Next title. The medical harms of hormonal and surgical intervention for gender dysphoric children. That's title number 3. Title number 4. Children on puberty blockers saw mental health change. New analytics suggest. It's title 4. And you can go back through this and listen to it again, pause it, and copy these titles down so you can look them up yourself. Title 5, Gender Dysphoria in Children. Understanding the Science in Medicine. Title 6, and I'm sure there's more. I just wasn't able to find. There's one particular one I wanted to find that I haven't been able to find yet. When I do, I will make sure I get it up. Next title. Pediatrician drops mic on the trans child debate. Next title. What a doctor says about puberty blockers for minors. Please look into them. And that's just a few. A little more than a handful, I think. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. There's 7 things to look into. And there's more. Those are just the ones that they found on YouTube. And these are medical practitioners. Okay. There's a gender doctor out in California that was paid, I want to say, $10 million to do a study on whether transitioning children is an advantage for the trans children. And it leaned more towards that it was not beneficial for the child, that it did more harm. The causes of these puberty blockers due to children, like I said before, osteoporosis, brittle bones, no reproductive development, underdevelopment of the genitals, male and female, brain swelling that leads to poor learning and other mental health problems, swelling of the brain that leads to intermittent, temporary, and permanent blindness, amongst other things. This information is out there. It's easy to access. Those who tell you that this is a lie are demons. They are lying to you, willfully and intentionally. Each child that is brought to medical transition is anywhere from $500,000 to over $1 million over the course of that child's life. What do you think is behind it? Come on. It's time to wake up to reality and leave these children alone and develop the way they're supposed to. Get them the right kind of the care that they deserve. And yes, and kids get depressed, especially that is not something to be toyed around with. And children need help to identify what is going on. It is the parents and adults' responsibility to do the right thing and try the best that they can to get them to the proper help that'll help benefit and help that child the best that they can. And psychology, therapeutics, mental health therapeutics, mental health therapy. If needed, antidepressants, anti-anxieties. And if it's a severe case for the child, there's always inpatient for however long it's needed for the child so that they're safe from themselves. I'm a parent. I know that as parents, we want to be able to keep our eye on our children 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but it's impossible. We have to do things to where we have to be in positions to where we need to be away from them at times to be able to provide for them. We can't keep our eyes on our children 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's impossible. The best we can do is love them enough to be able to help keep them in environments that will facilitate their safety and their best interest. And it's not sending them to these schools that partake in, yeah, your kid's trans, and guess what? We're not going to tell you about it. They're demons. They hate your children. Child sacrifice at the altar, at Satan's altar, is what it is. It's all this gender ideology crap is. For money. That's all it's for, is for money. Because we all know children do not have the capability, and it's because they haven't grown into adulthood and they haven't matured enough to be able to make these decisions and make the right decisions for them. That's why I'm so glad as an adult. I was in my 40s when I went to the first therapist I went to make sure that there wasn't something that I was overlooking that could have been detrimental to my decision of whether to or not to medically transition. We're intelligent people as adults. As individual adults, we don't have all the answers. But what we can start doing is having common sense and not allowing our children to be medically transitioned, sterilized through puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, then surgically mutilated and butchered. It's child abuse. It's the sacrifice of children at Satan's altar. And it's evil. God will find you, and God knows you're doing this to his children. God will judge you. And I hope you're okay with your soul burning in a lake of fire. Because you will be in hell. Please stop. Help these children and do the right thing and not medically transition these children. And for the ones who have, help them come back. If that's even possible, because I'm sure there's permanent damage these children have suffered, and there already is permanent damage children have suffered that can't come back from them. But what you can do is help prevent further harm and help these children. These children who have grown up and they decide to detransition, you can help them and do the right thing. Show actual care and compassion, empathy, sympathy, because it's the right thing to do, and you know it's the right thing to do. Stop lying and start telling the truth. Cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers cause permanent, irreversible damage. I don't know, yeah, I get emotional about this. Children are the future. So anyway, I'm going to end it. And really take a deep look. You have worth, you have value, you're important. No one's told you I love you today, I love you. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.